Welcome to the November 18th, 2025 St. Mary City Commission regular meeting. First item is the appropriation ordinances. They actually have two, 1283 and 1284. Any comments, Marie?
No, that second one is just that request for payment for VHS. I sent out the $3,000 notice.
So is this just amended? Is this just amended or?
No.
Or there's some,
The one that's highlighted is different on the bottom there.
okay.
For some reason, it printed the entire
Oh,
list
I see.
again. So there are two separate appropriation ordinances.
Okay. But the second one's only for that line item?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the appropriate ordinances 1283 and 1284 as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve appropriation ordinances number 1283 and 1284.
Yeah, as amended.
As amended.
Yeah, so I have, I have a motion, do I have a second? Yeah, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? So those are both approved. All right. The minutes from the last meeting. Those are approved. Do we have anything to add to the agenda? Nope. Nope. Okay. So the first item on the agenda, Kenny Titus, State Senator.
Well, no need to turn anything on or
No,
good to go, okay.
we're all turned on here.
Thank you guys, I appreciate the opportunity to come visit. I'm newly elected for just a year now to the state senate, so I've been making the round to all the cities in the 18th district. Mostly just want to introduce myself, and so you guys have a face with a name and know who you can reach out to if anything comes up. This is my only city council that I have a state level colleague on, so I assume Francis takes care of all your problems for you, but just in case, I want to make sure you guys at least know who I am. So I'm Kenny Titus. I represent the 18th district, which includes all of Potawatomi County, the north half of Shawnee, so I have Silver Lake, Rossville, and all kind of the Seaman School District area, and then the southern half of Jefferson County, so Oskaloosa, McLeod, Perry, Meriden, in that area. Previously was the state representative for kind of Wamego towards Manhattan and Wabunsee County. I did one term in the House and replaced Kristen O'Shea in the Senate. I serve on the Agriculture Committee, Local Government Committee, Vice Chair of Judiciary. I'm on the Commerce Committee. I am co-chair of the Water Task Force that we've been meeting over the last couple of years. And yeah, I live in Wamego with my wife Kara. I have two boys, Samuel and Jonah, who are back there and I'm sure behaving since I'm not looking at them. But yeah, you know, I've been around. I worked for the state government. I was the attorney at the Department of Agriculture. Used to be a news reporter, so I sat in an awful lot of city council meetings, whether I wanted to or not. So I'm familiar with a lot of, yeah. I'm familiar with a lot of the challenges you guys have, and the main thing I just want you guys to know is I've got a few cards I'll leave for you, but I'm available, accessible, and I just wanted to make sure you guys had a face with a name, and if there's ever anything I can help with, feel free to reach out. If you have any questions about anything going on now, I'm happy to answer any of the questions.
Go ahead.
Hey, keep talking, just ring. I got one thing. It's not ring up.
So you're basically saying you're from the government and you're here to help?
Well, I like to think you guys picked me, so.
Yeah, okay. Is that good enough, Rich?
Yeah. So there might be one effort. We attempted it last year. I think it didn't quite stick on the bill. But there's cities get kind of a special highway money from the state that I think is part of the fuel sales tax, and that gets divvied out to the various cities to take care of the roads, which I think it's a logical pass through of the sales tax on fuel. It goes to pay for mainly the highways, but also because people drive on city streets and they're paying the sales tax. And so kind of a distribution of that sales tax money to the various cities. That particular amount of money, and this was Shannon Francis, he's a rep from Liberal, who's also transportation chair. He brought this up in tax committee that he'd like to see that amount of money increase, because overall, the last probably 10, 15 years, it's remained kind of flat as far as what the local units of government are receiving. And whether that's fuel efficiency on vehicles, electric vehicles, I don't know. But that might be an effort.
And if I'm right, so my first job out of law school, I was actually a staff attorney at KDOT, so I have some familiarity with their work. I mean, you're talking about it's the mileage fee for taking care of Highway 24 as it runs through town.
A little bit of that, but I think we get a little bit extra as well.
We had a connecting link for that. He's talking about just a flat.
Fee, okay.
Yeah,
And then, but we will try to push that a little bit this next year to increase those, because the cost of roads has gone up and continues, so that's something that you might see. The other interesting thing that was mentioned last year, there's a bill that'll probably get passed this next year, it's the distribution of the countywide sales tax fund. Sorry, I know you're here to talk with us, but just kind of more, it stirred these directly impact the cities. But the way the county sales tax fund money is distributed now is based on population, but it's also based on mill levy. And so cities with a lower mill levy are actually penalized with the amount of money they are receiving. So there's gonna be a change to that formula attempted to make it more based on assessed valuation rather than mill levy. So anyway, there's a couple interesting things that got brought up in the tax committee that you might see that would certainly help.
That one will be interesting just in our county.
Yeah, tremendously. Yeah.
For sure. Well, anyway, I'm familiar, I'm happy to help. I know I've helped with local government stuff over the last 3 years. When Pot County switched from 3 to 5 commissioners, I helped clarify the statute so that it was clear how that process would work, because it had gotten really jumbled up over the years. And then for Soldier Township in North Shawnee County, they are a little unique as a township, but they're still a very active township, and they take care of, I believe it would be like the 12th largest city in Kansas if they were a city and not a township. And they do their own roads and their own fire, and it's all township controlled. And so they wanted to build a new fire station, but the bonding statutes for townships hadn't been updated some of them since the 40s. And so I worked with Representative McNorton to try, and we got that updated so that they could, it gave them authority to actually pay for their fire station and put it on the ballot. So whenever I can help out with those sorts of issues, I'm happy to. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
stopping by. Okay, the next item on the agenda, Lakeview Gravity Flow Sewer Line bid results. BJ.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
If I can get up here. We successfully took bids here actually on a Monday, 2 meetings ago. And after reviewing the bids, we decided to ask for additional information from the general contractors, of which we got. And really good bids. If you remember early on, I had told you that we needed to pick a window of opportunity, and I'm not taking any credit for that. We just looked out and were able to do that and got really good bids. Ranging from a high of $619,000 to a low of $392,000. And so you have to officially take action tonight to hire a general contractor to complete the work. And the low bidder was Olson Right of Way and Maintenance Incorporated out of Seneca, Kansas. Second bidder was J&K Contractors out of Junction City, Kansas. then Gideon Excavating, right here in St. Mary's. And the high bidder was Cardinal Site Work out of Pittsburgh. So I'd be happy to answer any questions above and beyond that for you to make a decision to hire a contractor.
Well, I think we held off last time because the low bid was remarkably low, so we did some checking, and I read the correspondence. Seems like a very smart decision to go with that one. So we need a motion.
It would be to accept that low bid as presented,
Yeah.
and then, Pat, if they do that, we can then, I don't see Mr. Cohen here tonight, but we would then have an amount to give to him, and he could work on that part of it.
Yes,
You would give him a notice of acceptance, but not a notice to proceed, right?
that's correct. I will actually, upon your picking and concurrence and voting, I will give you several things. I will give you a notice of recommendation for the contractor that you pick. And then I will provide the contractor with a notice of award. And after that, obviously then, with the bond council, we will get them and work with them to get all the detailed information that they need. And once that's in order, so we know we have money to pay the general contractor's bills, we will schedule a pre-construction conference. Any and everybody can come to that, and I go through my requirements to complete the job. Now, understand too, that within that bid of $392,020 even, there is a $75,000 allowance that we may not use one penny, or we may use a little. I already know we're gonna use a little bit of it, and I won't get into that, it's no big deal. But, you know, if they use very little of that, I mean, this puts this project complete down in the $330,000 range,
Yeah.
which is tremendous.
You can take some credit, Pat. It's okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, Mayor, I'll do that.
All right, so you should take a motion on this, or?
If you're prepared to act, I would
I
recommend a motion, yes.
I'd entertain a motion to accept the bid from Olson Right of Way and Maintenance, Inc. of Seneca for $392,020 for the Lakeview Lift Station. Gravity drain work.
Mr. Mayor, I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. And they are not opposed, so.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, there's one additional item, so that the project doesn't come to a stop. Our original contract, which is now almost 4 years old, we were contracted with you to do the preliminary plans, but we pinched the pennies and we were able to get up to this point today with that amount of money. We have to do all of the construction administration, and there's quite a bit to that. It's different than installation of water main. Sanitary sewer requires quite a little bit more effort. And we will amend our existing contract with an addendum, and I would need a motion in a second and hopefully a successful vote to go ahead and do those services for you.
Pat, when would that need to be approved?
I'd like to have it approved tonight.
Okay. But I don't know what the amount's gonna be and how that affects our budget amendments, but go ahead.
What I will do, like I've done to date, I will charge you for the work that we complete. And I'm guessing with this contractor and the additional paperwork and so on and everything that we do, that you may or may not see, that it's gonna be around $48,000.
Okay, but would you have can we keep the agreement that's open and that you charge us per the time, or do you wanna have a contract that is a specific dollar?
Well, no, I would just amend the existing contract. Just write an amendment,
Okay,
or we can keep that contract open and just charge you on the work that we do. It always runs in the rears. You know, we do the work for a month and then we send you a bill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thanks, Pat. If I'm understanding this correctly, there's a couple different paths forward, we just approve kind of the work, or we keep the contract open, you bill us, and then maybe send a little bit, maybe a formal extension with kind of a little bit estimate on the price at a later date.
Yes.
Would that be? a
My
reasonable
estimate
option?
today is somewhere around the $48,000 range.
Okay.
So maybe we do, sorry.
And we can kind of see that broken down into what all that includes.
I will provide you a scope of service. I think that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, so we give you the green light by keeping the contract open, but we get to see the scope of work
Yes.
before we officially finalize it.
Yeah.
Was that work for you?
Yes,
That would be my preference.
Yeah, do we need to do a not to exceed dollar amount just to, before we see the scope of work? That's the only part I'm a little hesitant on. We wanna keep the contract.
that's what you would
open.
amend the contract with, would be the dollar amount and the scope?
yes.
Yeah, so that's what you'd be approving, and then he'd bring it back and you could look at it, so give him the go-ahead to do it at the next meeting,
Okay,
so.
so is that a consensus? Cause we're not.
I think
don't have
so,
dollar
that's what you
amount
need tonight is consensus to have him amend the agreement as discussed, and you're gonna bring that agreement in so they can sign it? Or what was you saying?
I would prefer to have a vote tonight, to be honest. That's just my personal preference.
Then you could do the not to exceed number then.
Yeah, I would prefer to have a number attached to it if we're gonna do a motion.
Your motion.
I would entertain such a motion.
So let's see if I can get this right, Mr. Mayor. So I'll move to extend the contract with B&G, not to exceed 48,000, but also pending, seeing the scope of work at the next meeting.
The mayor has
That
to
would
sign the amendment.
So,
Now, I may not be able to attend the next meeting, it's just, but if I can, I can send Kurt Provine here, he's a professional engineer, my sidekick. So he understands this project frontwards and backwards. So,
So I have a motion to extend the contract not to exceed $48,000 and pending the details of scope of work at the next meeting. In a second.
Do I need to repeat that?
Yeah, no.
I say.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that?
Sure.
thank you very much, I really appreciate it. I'm excited about this project, and I'm really excited that we got the numbers that we did.
Yeah.
So, thank you
Matt.
very much.
Thank you.
thanks, Pat.
The next item on the agenda is the 2026 employee health insurance, but I don't see Brian. Oh, he's in the back. Come on up, Brian. That's good, because I can't understand it.
Went ahead and brought, I know you've got
Yeah.
data in your packets, but this is probably a little easier to see. So before we get too far into it, on the very back page is a colored sheet that is basically the claims information for Blue Cross. I'm not sure why I didn't just go ahead and put that on the front page, but it looked better in the back. So every year, one of the things when we move to level funded, we at least can see kind of how you're running as far as claims goes, and there's a little bit of an accounting, not a great deal of accounting, but just a little bit. So with your current policy, no one member can cost your claim fund more than $25,000. Okay, so anything over $25,000 during the year, or even during the year and then paid after the year's end, is going to go toward your claim fund. But anything over that, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, it's called a specific deductible. They cover that, those claims out of their own funds. Also, based upon what they calculate the claims, the expected claims to be, they put 120% on top of that, and then that's what your aggregate amount is. So if we're kind of starting over, you look at, you've got January through October. So this will show you how many employees, employee child, employee spouse, employee family. So in January you had 20. The monthly fixed costs were $18,297.85. The expected claims was just below $16,000. So you add those two together, that's $34,295, rounded up. Your medical claims were only $2,900 because everything started over in January. RX claims were $4,000, so there was nothing applied to the stop loss, nothing over your either individual or specific. So then you had total monthly paid claims of $7,148. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, your fixed costs to date have been $174,519. The expected claims were $152,159. So you add those two together, so $326,713 through 10 months. Your medical claims were $159,000. And remember, the expected claims was $152,000. So the $159,000, and then you had RX claims of $39,000. So either one or more than one member had claims over $25,000. So you see this individual stop loss. So Blue Cross, through their stop loss policy, has paid $68,740.28 on your behalf in your claims, because no one person can charge you more of your claims than that $25,000 amount. So if you kind of put a bookend on the expected claims of the $152,195 and the total monthly or total annual paid claims of $129, that's a delta of $22,553. So if the year would happen to end right now, and these were all the claims that came in, you'd get half of that money back in a premium holiday. So about $11,000 you would get back. So the big difference between this year and last year you had about as much in your aggregate stop loss payments that Blue Cross had paid as you did on the individual stop loss payments. So again, you're part of a pool in their level funded program, but that is how you're running. So better than you were running a year ago. Fortunately, however, your claims or your the way Blue Cross does their pooling, and that your level funded renewal went up about 31%. So now if we can go into that second page after and I'll show you how that breakdown went.
That's our reward.
Do what?
That's our reward for having fewer
Well-
claims. It goes up pretty.
The thing is, I obviously you can tell with my blonde hair, I've been in the business a few years. My previously largest increase ever delivered was 75%. Okay, this year I got a 218. So
That's progress.
this January has been very interesting.
So you're saying we should feel that we really.
Well, I'm not saying, hey, be thankful. I'm just saying it's been crazy. But so when you look at your 407, 585, based upon the 19 people that you have on, 5 employee only, 4 employee spouse, 4 employee children, and 6 families for that total of 19. You're going to go from 407, 585 to 535, 170, which is 127,584.84 of additional cost, making no changes. That's where that 31.3% comes from. So one of the other things that Maurice challenges me every year. He says, hey, what can we do? Are there any other, silver bullets out there? So we looked at a number of things. We went to a place called Gravy. It's a TPA. Gravy had no biscuits, so they no quoted us. That was kind of there's a lot of groundswell from Gravy in past years because they grew very, very rapidly. They poorly underwrote it, so they're having very, very large rate increases right now. So, had we jumped on the bandwagon, we'd probably be talking about something a little different than what we're talking today. So they no quoted, United Healthcare no quoted. I didn't go back to Trustmark. Remember Trustmark last year? They were trying to get us to fill out individual health questionnaires. It's just like, that took way too long and ended up pushing your decisions back way farther than what they needed to be. It looked good up front, but until you have an underwritten rate, you really can't put a whole lot of stock in that. Aetna, actually let's turn one more page in. I already told you about the people that didn't quote, and you're coming through on this page, you've got your renewal with 31%. Aetna did give us a quote. They're at 32.54, so basically the same amount of money as where Blue Cross came in on their level funded, and this is a level funded. Then Assured Benefits Administrators, little richer plan at about 18.16. The difference is that network would be the Cigna network. Okay, you're currently on the Blue Cross network. The Cigna network is pretty broad.
Sorry, that's through Aetna, you said?
No, the option 2, the Assured Benefits Administrators.
Oh,
Aetna has their own network, proprietary network. So on option 2, the Assured, and you see on the network is right above the heavy black line.
I see, I got it.
Which anyway, so that is it is an option. It requires a change. The one thing that I will tell you is I have not had anybody with Blue Cross that has terminated the level funded product get approved to come back on a level funded again. So why am I saying that? Well, one of the benefits of having a level funded program is you have composite rates. You have an employee rate, an employee spouse rate, an employee child rate, and a family rate. Okay, so this far right column is if you go into they call them the ACA or the pooled rates, that is a savings, but everybody has their own rate. So if there are 5 people on the plan, mom, dad, and 3 kids, everybody gets charged a premium for that. Okay, so in those situations, anybody that might COBRA that has a larger family, they're going to pay a significant amount more. Now, we can synthesize, what we're looking at and come up with composite rates that you can choose to fund to. It's just then when the bill comes in, everybody's going to have their own individual rates through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So questions, comments, thoughts?
What are your comments and thoughts?
I mean, the one other thing that you guys had talked to somebody about, and one was the Freedom 105 plan.
Yeah,
Okay, so that,
you put that in here, I thought.
I did put it in here. Let me just explain it to you. So how that plan works is, right now you have a $1,500 deductible. Okay, you have a co-insurance maximum of $1,000, so your 20% can't go past an additional $1,000. There's $2,500 there. Then you can have co-pays to get up to your maximum out of pocket of the $5,000 on your plan. Okay, so you've got $1,500 worth of deductible potential. You've got another $1,000 on an individual of co-insurance that's got its own max to it, and then you've got a max of all of those things added together. Okay, so that is that plan. What the Freedom 105 plan does is you fund to where you were today, but then you buy a $5,000 high deductible health plan, okay? And then you'll have 2 ID cards. You'll have the ID card from the Freedom folks, because that's a TPA, third-party administrator, that's gonna be paying claims. You're still gonna have a $25 copay on the primary care, the $50 copay on the specialist. Then they break it down and make it look like this $1,500 plan, okay, with some enhancements, okay? Which, 2 ID cards, you know, some people think that's a problem, other people don't care. The thing that gets me a little bit is, for the privilege of using their service, they're gonna charge you $54 per employee per month, okay, for the TPA services. And then they're gonna charge you 20% of any savings by month that comes in. So it dilutes that savings a little bit. There are other ways to do it without a Freedom 105 plan. But again, it is an option, and it has generated some reserves. So, you know, if you decide to go down that $5,000, so you can have a $5,000 plan with Blue Cross, and then Freedom's gonna make it look similar to what you have today, but there's a lot of moving parts in that regard, but it should generate a savings. So let me just kind of show you. You can go to the sheet that looks like this. I think this is a good way to see it. So in the upper right-hand corner, your current deductible is a $1,500 deductible. What you could buy with Blue Cross is a $5,000 deductible. So in that bold number, the difference in premium between those 2 plans is $99,793. Okay? So that's the savings right up front. Then when you come down and you look in this kind of this middle area, if you have a $5,000 or it's 2 times, which is the max on employee spouse, employee child, and employee family, so you have a $10,000 deductible, which is why that 5 turns to 10, 10, 10. All right, so $1,500 subtracted from 5,000 is $3,500 on a single. You have 5 of those, so you're technically risking $17,500. You have 4 employee spouses at $7,000. $28,000 worth of risk in your employee spouse and your employee children, and then there are 6 families at $7,000 of $42,000 of total risk. So if you look at, in that total, the $115,500 is what you're technically risking, okay? Because, you know, you can't go above that $5,000 because you bought, that's your high end. You're not gonna get to that point. I don't see people go, you know, even half would be a bad year. But, so then if we keep coming down, there's a first year.
Sorry, Ron, can you explain, what do you mean by risking? So when you went through all of these, you said
Yeah.
we'd be risking 17,500, 28.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay, so you're basically, the difference between the $1,500 deductible that you have today and that $5,000 high deductible health plan that has no copays, has no co-insurance, no anything, it's just a, you know, a catastrophic deductible. They're coming in, the TPA is coming in and providing all those other benefits, so you can have a $25 office visit copay. So anything above $25, you guys are gonna pay that. They're gonna, each time a claim comes in, they're gonna turn around and send you another bill. And so you're gonna have another accounting to pay for all of those. So if,
And so is that eating into the $99,000 of savings
Yes.
is what you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, so, you know, if you, in that area, your first year setup fee is $550 on that plan, and then I mentioned the $54 per employee per month. So annually, they're gonna charge $12,312 for the TPA services, and then the $550. So you've got the $12,682. If 30% of your population hits the maximum, you know, either the 3,500 if you're on an individual, or the 7,000 if you're on a, you know, one of the families, if 30% of that, then you're gonna have $52,000 worth of savings, okay, which then they're charging you 20%, so you would net out $41,000 of savings. Go ahead.
But that's assuming that you don't have to pay up on any of that risk, that you,
Well, that's assuming 30% of your members are gonna hit
but they are.
that 35, yeah, which is why it goes down. So the calculation goes down, you know, the 99,793 minus the 12,860, because that's gonna be a cost every month. I mean, the $12,000 cost is about $1,000 a month. And then any savings in that month, they're gonna take 20% of it and say, thank you very much, put it in their pocket.
Okay, so it seems to me that what this third party administrator is that what it's called, is doing is making the health coverage look like exactly what we're doing now.
Very similar, yeah.
Saving some money,
Mhm.
but taking some of that money,
Mhm.
for a fee.
Mhm.
But there is a chance that we could end up spending more if we have to eat all of that risk.
There's always that chance you could go above that. I haven't seen that happen, to be perfectly honest with you, but
Can we look at last year's?
in there, the dilemma that I have with, and what I asked Tammy, your Blue Cross rep, for, is just show me how many people had less than $1,000 worth of, of your members, less than $1,000 worth of claims. How many people had less than 5,000? How many people had less than 10,000? And all that. So, because we can back into these numbers
Right.
if they'll give me that data. They won't give me that data. The only data they give
So
is
we
that
don't
number.
know if this is a reasonable risk to take.
You don't know. I mean, 30%, is a pretty industry standard thought process. The question then becomes, the benefit of doing it is you can stay on the Blue Cross level funded, so you're not risking not being able to get back level funded, because you could always say, you know what, this didn't work, we want to go back to just a straight $1,500 plan. Okay, you still have that option. Once you term the level funded with Blue Cross, you're probably not going to get that back, and you're going to be on either going to an ADA or an Aetna or somebody else that has that coverage available.
Why is it that they won't give us that data? Is it just, we don't have enough people on the plan?
That's part of it, but with all their level funded, they have they've got a standard policy. If you had over 50,
Yeah.
employees on the plan, I could get it all day long, normally on a regular
Right.
plan, but since you don't, then I can't, or they haven't been given. We did ask for it. I mean, we asked Tammy and she came back, nay, thrice times nay.
Okay, so I'm looking at the top level savings, which is not really the total savings, because no matter what, there's gonna be money taken out, the 12,000 a year plus some other
Plus
stuff.
any claims that come in
20%.
that you're gonna be paying
Okay,
anytime they bill. Yeah,
so the most we could save is, say, well, you have those numbers down there, 52, 63, 68, is that right?
well,
that's-
that's before the 20%.
It would be-
So if you slide over 80% of the savings, that's the column you really need to look
So
at.
that's the savings, potential savings.
Potential, right?
You think reasonable, estimate savings. We went up 127,000, and that's savings from the 535 really, right?
Well,
Because we,
see, here's the thing though, you're gonna pay as if you're paying the 535. Okay? Because they're looking at it as if those were the rates you're paying, and then they're doing all your back end calculations and showing you how much you saved that month, and then if you go over a month, then they don't giving him the money back, but they, so I mean, again, it's another mechanism, and, you know, as Maurice has talked to me multiple times, hey, bring us the options, let us look at them. The Freedom 105 plan there are some groups that have a lot of reserves built up. You know, there are other groups that it doesn't seem to work. I mean, if people don't want to carry both cards,
Yeah.
then that's problematic.
So the extra money left of the money that we're spending out of that 535 sort of accumulates over time,
Mhm.
and that's available for,
Premium stabilization reserve, whatever you want to use it for in that regard.
the cost to us is the same, no matter what, with this and the Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mean, I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're basically going to charge you. They're making it look like you're paying the $1,500.
Right, okay.
But then they've got, you know, all these mechanisms underneath it where they're gonna be paying claims on your behalf. So it's, I mean, they'll give us reports every month as well.
So sorry for my dullness, but what that really means is we stick with our plan, it's just they find ways to help us save some money within that, basically. Correct?
Well, I mean, they're not really finding any way. They're just, as claims come in, because when you look at, you know, I don't care how big your group is, 70 to 80% of your people won't even have $1,000 worth of claims. Okay, now the people that have claims have a lot of claims. You know, whether it's a, you know, preemie baby or, you know, specialty medications, any of that. You guys don't have a specialty problem because your RX spend is pretty low. So that's a good thing in that regard. But they're basically saying most of the people, in essence, are overinsured. So let's take advantage of Blue Cross giving us, you know, $99,000, $100,000 in premium savings. Let's take that money, put it to work, and then see what we have left over at the end of the year.
Yes. Oh. Would
Just
you
a
like to,
question on this.
could you come up to the podium?
Well, it's a question for both him and the city.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Does the city have less than 50 employees?
Yes.
Is there an option, and I could be making this up, where the city funds an HRA and we let the employees get their insurance through the marketplace and reimburse some of their costs through the HRA?
Yes.
Would that be cheaper, or would that be a cost savings to the city?
Well, so HRA, and ICHRA, okay? And ICHRA is where you can go out and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna give every employee $600 to spend. Now, you've got to go out and shop and figure out if you can go on the exchange or go on whatever to get that. And then if you show us that you took out coverage, then you get the money put in your account. So there are mechanisms to do that, but I don't see them happening on, I mean, you guys are paying the lion's share of these premiums. So, you know, if you're gonna work it out, you would have to have, you know, if you've got two people on the plan, you would have this much available to you and all of that. But you can do it's through an ICHRA, basically, it's an HRA, but you go out and you buy your own. So at that point, you terminate the Blue Cross coverage. You may still end up with Blue Cross, but you're gonna be on their individual plan. So whatever that is. Now, if somebody wanted to buy the $6,000 deductible, they could do that in that program. And they could choose to under or over insure themselves, and then, but they're just out.
But the cost of the city, is it changed at that point, since we're not worried about self-funding or anything? We're just saying, look, you have $3,000, go do with it whatever you want, or $600 a month, or whatever it is.
In reality, it could save the city a significant amount of money, but the employees are gonna pay way more than that. It's gonna cost them a whole lot more, because then they're not buying on a pre-tax basis. Right now, their payroll deductions, their percentage is coming out pre-tax. Okay, so 90% of the people, it's gonna cost more money going out on the exchange. than, or, other, wherever else they went.
The annual limits in the they're not high enough to try to make me remotely close.
I mean, you could put aside some money that, and then, force people to go back through that. But you only get the money if you substantiate that you bought credible coverage
Right.
through that. So,
Right, but we're only insuring them if they pay premiums into our plan anyway, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just brainstorming if that's an option.
I mean, it is an option, and ICHRA is an option. I mentioned that 218% increase. We're putting in an ICHRA because that's told the employees that there's no way you can afford to help the employees through this storm. So, put a dollar amount out there that they're paying toward that, and then they're gonna go find it on the open market and then come back and say, here we are, pay us the money. So real quick, yeah, I mean, it is an option. At the level that the city is contributing today for all the premium. Now, if the city was just paying 100% of the employee and then everybody else had to get the rest, I think that'd be an awesome option. But at the level that you're contributing toward the family and the employee spouse, the employee child, it's a little more problematic to do all those calculations. But, I mean, we can do it.
All right. Sounds like we're putting a lot of work on the employer if we do that.
No, you'd be putting the money on the.
I mean, the employee.
On the
Sorry,
employee,
that's what I
absolutely,
mean,
yeah.
Putting a lot.
The employee's gonna have to become an expert in what should I do, versus you guys have a lot of knowledge on what's going on and you're buying a plan on a group basis that helps, and you're subsidizing it at a very large percentage.
Well, and in my opinion, this is one of the best benefits we have to offer our employees, and I'd be very hesitant, even if there's some cost benefit, there's a huge downside to asking the employee to become an expert on this stuff and keep up with it, for the sake of that savings. You have a comment?
So do you see employers going to that option to where they let the employees go out on the market, but still the employer does some of the, the personnel work with them on an individual basis, helping them go through the process, answering questions along the process, different claims and everything else? Is there enough benefit there that employers are essentially doing that through their HR department?
There are, okay, so let's just use Blue Cross in that. Okay, there are Blue Cross plans. I'm from Oakley, in between Oakley and Scott City, so I'm from out there. So there are a number of employers that are buying Blue Cross coverage on an individual basis, but they're wrapping it up and billing it to the employer. Okay, so, but you have to go through Blue Cross. You can't go through a United policy or some other policy. You've got it, it's all through. So there is a mechanism to do that, but not probably at the level that you're looking at.
What do you mean not at the level we're looking at? Sorry.
Well, if you're saying that you want to put the onus on the city clerk or Maurice to be the insurance expert, and then every employee has to come in and talk to them one-on-one, and they help them go out and look at all the different options that are out there, it would be better to hire an LIG, which is a place that you can contract with LIG. They'll go out, search the whole market and tell you what's available, what would you qualify for subsidies, all of that, and then have that come through the employer. I'm not seeing hardly anybody that's putting that onus and the shopping experience on the employer.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm seeing them hiring other people to do that, which is that one of the other things. If we did an HRA style, you could put in a call center and they call this 800 number, and then they go through all the options that are available in the area based on your zip code.
But that would be an additional
So-
cost. So we're trying to save money. But
I mean,
if you,
And what I'm saying is I haven't seen the employer doing the legwork. I'm seeing him just handing it to somebody else to do the legwork, just not have the employer do it. That's what I was kind of referring to.
that's my concern, is that someone's gonna have to do, someone who really knows what he or she is doing is gonna have to help the employee through this process in order to get good coverage, I think. And I don't, if we ask the city staff to do that, we're asking people who are not, that's not your training. That's why we hired you, precisely to help
Oh, but
us navigate this stuff. at
The
the group
downfall is, let's say that you're helping them and then somebody really pushes and says, you know what, I want one of these limited policies that only covers, 10 office visits in the primary care and 10 specialists and 20 days in the hospital. Okay, which may be fine for a bunch of them, but then they have a preemie baby that's in for 86 days. What do you do with that $500,000 bill? And then they're going, wait a minute, wait, employer, you helped me get this coverage, what gives? And then, you obviously go, well, but you signed up for the limited coverage available, but, so I mean, there's all those trade-offs, because there are ways that you can get a less expensive policy, it's just you have less coverage.
But to get an apples to apples policy on the market to what the city's offering, is there a net savings for employer-employee if we work together with the employees on, their pay and everything else? I know you said pre-tax, after-tax. At the end of the day, if we get an apples to apples, similar policy on the market, and we make everything equal to the employee as far as their final out-of-pocket, is there a net savings after it all is said and done?
There can be. I mean, because in that far right-hand column, your age-rated rates that I didn't show them all because it's got employee name and what their new premiums would be. But you could get it down to roughly 18%. But then the question is, are you going to build it into a composite rate? Or are you going to charge all of the employees 13% of whatever their premium is? So if it goes up, if the premium doubles because they have a lot of children on their plan from the composite, are you going to harm those individuals?
Yeah, and that's the far right of the page that has the current renewal option 1, option 2, fully insured.
Yep.
Okay, and it looks like even looking at that number, at the estimated premium of $480, if we go the route of the third-party administrator, we have the potential to be, right around that $480 anyway, with about a $40,000 to $50,000 savings. So at the end of the day, it's kind of it's all.
Yeah, it's
about the same.
just how do you, what levers do you want to pull and how do you want to build it?
So it seems as though the third-party administrator, I'm not claiming that I fully understand it, but it seems like that is the better, I don't know, it seems like a good option. It's an extra step to the process, but you're paying for, there's an extra step, but the savings is there. I know.
I mean, historically, the savings has been there, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a big change over the last probably 10, 15 years, where it's getting utilized in various ways of captives and everything else.
Right, yeah, I mean, there's 27 levers we could potentially pull, but, kind of trying to limit it to what might be out there that's gonna move the needle the most with the least amount of work on the staff is kind of what we were looking at.
So can you walk through once again the TPA version? What are the downsides? What's the extra work? What's the extra work that would have to be done in order to, see the $99,000
We have
savings
double
will fall.
eligibility, you gotta send eligibility to the TPA and you have to have eligibility to Blue Cross.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's double eligibility, not a huge deal, we can set up, interfaces, or not interface, like an Excel spreadsheet to be able to do that. Okay, you've got, at the member level, you've got 2 cards,
Mhm.
okay, so you're gonna have to remember, well, so if you go to the pharmacy and you give the Blue Cross card, they're gonna say you owe 100% of this bill. And they're gonna go, wait, I had a copay, what's going on? Well, you gotta remember to give
Mhm.
the TPA card, which, I mean, again, that's education, we can get through that piece of it.
So that's one thing, you got 2 cards, so that's the downside.
Mhm.
And then I think you brought up an accounting, a little bit of accounting work. or
Yeah,
something.
a little bit, that's gonna, because what we'll probably set up, instead of having you hold the money, we'll say just pay that to them, and then once you get money built up, say now, give us part of that money back, you don't need to hold it on our behalf. So you could eliminate the accounting piece of it internally, specifically the first year until you get stuff built up. What I see a lot of times is individuals that have been on this plan for a while, and maybe they have $70,000 built up in their reserves. Well, they may want to use part of that to help buy down monthly for that, so hey, give
Offset the
me,
increase.
yeah, offset the increase, so here we go. We're gonna pull this money over, but you still have a bucket of money sitting there in case the 30% went to 50% one year.
Okay.
Because that claim fluctuation is gonna move around.
Okay. So just one last question, as far as Maurice, Kelsey, any thoughts on going that route with the TPA, the 2 cards? And
It's your guys' decision.
They can and stuff, I think that's not too much of a big deal.
It's to follow up on that, I assume that if we were to try this, what's it, Freedom Choice, the third party,
Freedom 105, yeah.
that I assume they would do some of that education.
Oh, yeah,
So that they would,
absolutely.
if it's not
Yes.
so we just say, hey, figure it out for yourselves. They're
No,
gonna-
we would, what I would suggest is, I would then bring a representative of the TPA to come, do an employee meeting,
Okay.
whether we do it in an evening or, during the day or whatever, to walk through, here's how this is gonna work. Because the thing that trips people up going into it initially is, they're used to giving them the Blue Cross card, and your pharmacy has your Blue Cross card already on file. But then when they try to run that $1,500 card, it's gonna be denied, because you got a $5,000 card now, okay? So then they're gonna ask you for the $5,000 card, and if you don't have the other one with you, or you forget about the TPA card, they're gonna run the $5,000 card, and there's no benefit other than preventive until you get to that $5,000 through Blue Cross. The rest of the benefits are under the Freedom TPA.
But they can talk to them about that. So
Yes, yeah,
from
yes.
for the employer perspective, it sounds like we're gonna be making agreements with 2 groups, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then the TPA.
Freedom's Claims Management is
Freedom Claims
the
Management.
name of the TPA, yeah.
From the employee perspective, will it seem like they have the same insurance coverage, except that they have to deal with these 2 different cards?
Mhm.
Okay. And if we decide we don't like using the third party, we can say, thanks, that didn't work out so well, we can go right back to the old plan,
Yeah.
the level. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That seems like a zero risk opportunity to see if we can save some money without putting a burden on the.
Mr. Mayor, are there different TPAs that do this that are worth looking into, or just go with this one? Are there different options out there that offer programs, or are these programs the same?
The Freedom folks
Right.
kind of started that in Kansas.
Okay.
Okay, they've got probably the most integrated mechanism to do that. Okay, there are, like through ABA would do for their amount, we could go in and build a $5,000 plan. They could make it look on the back end through all of that for, I think they charge $6 a head to do that, and then you could do it with one card. But again, you're going through the Cigna network, and I mean, it's a change from where you are currently. The reluctance from the handful of years that I've been here, the reluctance to leave Blue Cross has been strong in that regard. So that's why I'm not, I mean, yes, there are other alternatives, and there are other mechanisms as well. We can buy another deductible and have it, like Assurancy, Delta Dental Assurancy. And for $7, you can, the employee then has to send in their EOB for anything that went toward deductible, and then they could get reimbursed out of an HRA. So
Right.
similar.
How much potential savings is there in the switch?
Well, if nobody had a claim,
Yeah.
you'd have the $100,000 minus 12.3, so 88,000,
And
or no, $78,000, or no,
If-
$88,000.
if another option, if we're just looking about the 88,000, would another option be to increase the employee contribution amount? Because currently it's like 84.16 on the Blue Cross plan.
Mhm.
Could we whittle away at some of those potential savings and have the same plan, but have the employee pay more? Of the amount of the current plan? Because Reed said it's pretty generous, and 86.14, it's pretty, a lot of people are
well,
80-20.
The 86.14
Yeah.
on an employee,
Yeah.
relatively common, or 100% employee.
How common is
Relatively common.
80-20?
Very common, but what I'm saying is, groups your size many times don't contribute 86% of the full family rate,
Oh, sure.
or the employee spouse rate. So what you're doing is a very, very rich benefit in that regard, which, that if you start whittling that down, I would say, I would much rather you look at going to an 80-20 or a, 75-25,
Yeah.
if you're looking to save, but do it on all the tiers, as opposed to paying 100% of the single and then maybe 50% of the rest.
And so the only unknown there, well, a unknown, not the only one, a unknown is, as people who retire, who may be only on the single or married plan, if they come in with kids, that's gonna put them on the family plan, and then these numbers change. Because we were paying that 80% or 86% of the, so my numbers right now that we did for the end of the year at budget time, they're accurate, because we haven't had any changes. But as people retire or move on and replace them, and if they have different circumstances, the numbers change on the total bill. So I just threw that out there. I just want to throw out the 80-20 option or 75-25 or something, if that would be enough savings.
Comment? Thank you. Well, my priorities are trying to save money where we can, but keeping the benefit as close as possible to what we have now for the city employees. I think it's one of the best things we can do for them. We can't offer them high salaries. I think it's a great source of security. And mostly keeping the complexity of this thing at a minimum, if possible. So I grant there are probably ways to do this that people who really understand it can do at the individual level. Don't deny that. But I don't want to put that work on the individual employees or on the city. Seems like, but we know that we don't necessarily like the cost, but we like the coverage we have now.
Mhm.
And we do this every year. So it seems to me that keeping the coverage, getting some savings, trying out this third party administrator makes a lot of sense. I don't see a lot of risk associated. We did budget for that 30% increase, so we kind of have already accounted for it. Seems like a safe move. Go ahead.
An early question, but on that 535, 170, so the total premium current plan and what, so that includes that's 100%, that's 84 plus 16%. That's what it adds up to.
Yeah.
And so if we do have savings, and that's what everybody's paying into, right? So that payment's being made, but if there's savings off of that, 100% of the savings come back to the city, it doesn't get divvied up 84-16.
Right, not first year. You could choose to do that in subsequent years. You could give that money back to the employees. You could give them a premium holiday. You could, I mean, there's multiple things you can do in that regard.
Interesting.
But yes, that first year, you will not see any savings directly to the employee because you're gonna lock it in payroll deductions, you know, through a section 125 for the full year. But then, once you, okay, if you ended up with $40,000 of, you know, reserve, okay, then how do you want to, you know, do you want to put that reserve in, or do you want to hold that reserve, but then start bringing down that top end number, you know, which would then help save money for the employees as well. I mean, there's multiple contributions, because I mean, going from 14% to 25%, that's going from like $76,000 that the employees are paying to 133 roughly. Just, I mean, it's kind of round, quick math on the phone. So there's $50,000 in savings right there, but $50,000 worth of cost to the employees.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard to call it savings when it's, you know, when it's going to cost somebody something. But
So what do you need from us tonight, Maurice?
What are you asking Brian to do? And does this mean if we choose this other plan, are you then out of the picture? Are you still part of it?
I'm still,
Alright,
because you're paying me a consulting fee, so yeah, that's the,
we need the help, so.
yeah.
Ask, I mean, what are you wanting to do specifically?
Offer a couple suggestions or options, Mr. Mayor, if you will. We can just pause and give it a couple weeks, but if city staff wants to talk about it, and then if there's any major concerns, they can bring it back as far as switching to the TPA. That seems to be that is my preference, to go that route, or we can approve it tonight, but I don't know if there's not a rush to approve anything.
Yeah, what's our due date?
It doesn't have to be approved tonight.
No, it does not have to be approved. The only thing is, with the level of complexity, the closer you get to January 1, the more problem we may have of getting the TPA cards to you, and then the right $5,000, if you want to go down the $5,000 cards from Blue Cross. So I mean, the closer we get to January, you know, that we're going to be, that's the only rush. And I wouldn't, you know, make that your only part of your decision, but,
Yeah.
I don't know.
and then just have the time to have a meeting where we can coordinate schedules so I can get the TPA people here.
So you'll coordinate with them on our behalf,
Absolutely.
or would, we should say.
Yeah, I will. That's what you,
So if this did get approved at the next meeting, which is December 2nd, would that be sufficient time?
Andrea?
I mean, yes, I mean, we
I don't know,
can
if we
make
wait
it
that
work.
long, we might have a grumpy commissioner on the, up here fighting for, that's a joke, right?
Not grumpy. Like, I understand. I was just wondering if we could get them at the same place and save money, like, is it worth it?
Yeah, no, there are ways to save money. I'm comfortable with going with the TPA option with the current coverage personally. And if-
So one
But
thing-
I also don't mind waiting, but I don't want it to be this sort of confusion. Go ahead, John.
Can a TPA be added at any time during the year, or does that have to happen, at open enrollment? So, because I mean, if you wanted to approve just the Blue Cross side of things, I don't know if the TPA cannot be added on at any time during the year.
The dilemma is, let's say you added on mid-year, but you've already renewed on your $1,500 deductible. So what good are they gonna be? They're not saving you any money because it's the same amount of, you know, or you risk and say, you know what, Blue Cross, we wanna renew on the $5,000 plan, and you don't add them, So anybody that has first dollar, they go in and get a script, they're gonna pay 100% of it till they get to that 5,000. So I mean, it is best to couple it at open enrollment, for sure.
All right, I'm ready to approve that tonight, but I'm not gonna, it's not a hill that it's okay. I don't wanna, I just wanna make sure, because this is new, I wanna make sure that, if that's what we wanna do, we have plenty of time to explain it to people, so we can do it well.
And if this TPA doesn't work, you said that's something that can be taken, what?
Next year.
And I'm a little bit familiar with it because we've been doing it for many years and it works well. It's a little bit of an extra small step, but I think once we started doing it, there's no going back. It does work well, so. Yeah, I think it's not a new concept, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, we're not reinventing the wheel. I mean, it's something that's been around in Kansas for a while.
No, we're doing
So
this
the
plan with
renewal-
$5,000 deductible and adding the TPA to get the savings.
You're
So-
buying the $5,000 plan.
Got it, okay,
Yeah, which,
I got it, okay. Which, that's in the renewal column.
Well, I think.
no, the $5,000 plan is not on there unless you look at,
The comparison sheet probably.
yeah, on the freedoms, where you see where they're saying the umbrella policy is, your $1,500 plan has an $1,135 rate. The $5,000 plan has a $931 rate. That's where you see the umbrella policy, that's the $5,000 policy that you're buying.
Okay.
So we're redoing all of that coverage with the higher.
Yeah, and your coverage then looks like this. The employees have this in the blue, you're risking what's above that. I mean, most of the people, if they don't have a hospitalization, inpatient or outpatient, or a lot of labs, most people aren't even getting into a deductible, because you're into your co-pays most of the time. So you don't have those big swings right off the bat.
All right, so is this a motion or a consensus? If we're ready, I'm ready to entertain a motion to approve. Well, how do we say it? Renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield at the $5,000 deductible level, $5,000 plan, with Freedom Choice as the TPA.
Your motion, I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye, and there are none opposed, so we'll go with that one.
So, don't forget dental. Dental, you have.
Yeah, but that's not a 31%.
This is part of the story. Dental is basically going up 2.45% or $510 annually. Not a huge amount. You're going from $40.18 to $41.16 on a single. Now remember, this is when we put Delta in, we double your annual max to $3,000. So that is still that $3,000 plan. So relatively small. And then you do have advanced life through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They own advanced. That is something that I would like to look at, if you give me permission to do that. Because you're, 38 cents a thousand, I think it's not a huge amount of money. And I don't know what your current volume is, but I would be shocked if I can't get it on the market through a Guardian or a Mutual of Omaha or a Met for, 18 to 20 cents. But I would, I'd have to go look at that. I think renewing it as is, because you didn't get a rate increase, is not a bad scenario either. But something for the future to be able to look at.
Okay, so we need to, I probably should have done that together. We need another motion to approve renewal of the dental coverage and the basic life coverage, or do you want time to look at that more?
I mean, I can probably turn around quotes pretty quickly. If you wanted me to look at that, and I can just send them directly to Maurice and he can let you guys know that piece of it.
Some say,
That can be, that can be done on your, December 2nd meeting, I mean, because you're looking at it, it's not like we're hiring TPAs and all of that. You
right,
provide a death certificate, you get the benefit.
might as well. Just do the dental.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve renewal of our dental coverage.
Mr. Mayor, so moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? A motion is second, all those in favor vote aye. Aye, there are none opposed. Good night, if you could just look into that.
Yep, I'll do it.
All right. Good for now? Thank you,
Yep.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. After that excitement, what could possibly, let's see, next item, storm damage claim update. Oh, well, damn, it might get more exciting.
I don't know, we could probably get till 9 on more insurance.
Yeah, well,
Who wants to be done with insurance?
This is when they pay us, right? We don't pay them.
This should be pretty short and sweet, actually. So I shared with Maurice that the insurance company is behind their timeline on going to appraisal. The policy says that they have 20 days to name an appraiser, and they haven't yet. And so I prepared a document for him that he's shared with the city attorney. Is the city attorney?
And, no, I remember, and the city
Oh,
commission.
and yourselves as well. So tonight, we're looking for essentially an approval to have that information communicated back to the insurance company, essentially, with the lawyer's blessing or
Review.
changes.
Review.
Basically putting them on notice, saying that they've passed their,
We're just prompting them to do
Deadlines.
what they're supposed to do.
essentially.
They're kind of holding their feet to the fire. So
There are some legal implications too, that you're essentially reserving your rights to assert, your contract since it's being essentially broken.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So what, we just need a consensus to send that or on our
Well,
behalf?
to have the city attorney review it and
Not yet.
then communicate it to travelers.
Consensus. Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Good night.
Are you sure you don't want me?
We're fine.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is Evergy pollution bond.
This is, once again, rather lengthy. I can't explain it, but there's a series of pages that need signed to finish off this $45 million pollution bond. They have a UPS addressed envelope at the front counter to be picked up tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. So,
Yeah. Any comments on that?
City attorney is not doing, it's basically the same thing as what we approved, but this is just another.
this is just another part of it. I didn't send it to Bernard because we were, no, I was on the sewer one. Made it confused. He said he's staying out of the sewer one because he didn't want to pay him and Kevin Cohen. This one here, I believe I sent it to him. And I haven't heard back from him, whatever. But when you read through her email, the last one they have like this is on file from 1994, and they're wanting it updated. just like that 220 pages from the last meeting, it's just another, whatever, it's just,
Yeah, to me, the key of the whole thing is in a paragraph somewhere in the middle. It says obligations of the issuer payable solely from the trust estate, which trust estate has been pledged and assigned subject to certain retained rights to the trustee to secure payment of the bonds. The bond shall not in any respect be a general obligation of the issuer of the Potawatomi County, Kansas, nor shall it be payable in any manner by taxation. I think that's the most important part for us. So we agreed to this to the last meeting or the meeting before.
essentially, but then they came up with this blanket trust thing that, you know, had not been since '94. The action, if you're gonna take any tonight, would just to have a consensus, have the mayor sign the signature pages as presented, and we will be done with this. Otherwise, I don't know what to do.
We have a consensus?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a consensus. All right. 2025 budget amendments now, more recent time, Sean.
No, and since Pat Cox's thing was approved, we made a tweak to it. But in front of you,
Not much to that.
the one on the front page, it shows you the name of each fund, the budgeted amount, the January through October amounts as per the financials, and then guesses for November, December, on an estimated total, and then how much, if any, budget authority is remaining. And then the next column is incomplete projects or bills that haven't been paid yet, and they are based off of that chart right below. So it all feeds in there, and then it gives me an estimated amendment amount, and then I kicked it up even more in the column next to it. Now, keep in mind, we're not gonna spend that much money, but, and I do believe what I have in front of you is accurate, but stuff slips through or he assigns it to the previous year. So that's how I calculated that sheet that says 11-18-25 final. The only thing I would say is adding $48,000 to the sewer utility fund one. And all this does is set up a public hearing for that last meeting in December. And just as I said, last year and all the previous years, this isn't obligating you to spend more. We've already spent most of this money, just have some bills that haven't come in yet, and this complies with the statute, so that's the front page, and then the second page was just a list of the projects that are ongoing. That can be discussed another time, and some of those numbers from that on the front page. So, if there's a consensus to have me publish the budget notice as amended, and the amendment would be plus 48,775, so 825 or thereabouts.
798,
Yeah, if you have, we get 738.
is that right?
Yeah, something like that. I'll just do it. I mean, it's not set between, it just goes to the paper. And this one, we have to put it in the actual paper, not on our website.
So we're approving the amount of proposed.
To publish
plus
this is
48.
what, yeah. So the amendment one would be 775 plus 48, whatever that number is. And so the general fund, there were a number of things that popped up. We charged those ball field lights to the street department. We paid 2 years worth of insurance because we never paid the 2024 in 2024 because of the renewal issue. So that was $88,000, although that didn't all go to general, but a chunk of it did. And the new software, now only about 20% of that goes to the general fund. So there's reasons right there. Countywide sales tax, that number's inflated so much because that storm damage. And I took the actual amount of revenue received and then just added it to it. I think we're okay. The sales tax fund is on the front page, bottom left. I think that's how those numbers are in. But I just threw that out there. The sewer, keep in mind we have a $105,000 washer compactor sitting down there that you okayed earlier in the year. Mike contacted them. Mike's concerned about putting it in before the HVAC is installed. we're waiting on the $7,700 set of plans to do that, and I said, at this point, let's just schedule it for January 2nd, you know, and get it in, so that's why this, the sewer one would be over the amount. The water one, that was that water project 1A, that was mostly that, I believe I have that right. The electric utility fund, that just is a normal process, because we don't know what power's gonna cost, you know, each month. The refuse fund, that one's actually gonna come in under budget, but I've asked to increase it just in case the truck breaks down, we'd try to charge something there, or the compactor would break down again. So, and the golf course one, I just increased by 1,500, because it looks like we've spent almost 5,000 this year there. And if they, I don't know, so anyway, that's in general why it is, so, unless there's questions.
But that's not a big deal, but what was did we do that HVAC this year on the golf course? What was the 5,000? Is it just maintenance stuff?
I can't remember, I don't remember.
We had to do something with the unit last year. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I thought that was last year. And I know they mowed the lawn.
No, we don't
We
break
charge
that, we don't break that
ourselves.
out like that, no. I'm not gonna think about it. Well, we'll have $500 for new refrigerator.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I can just pull up the line
I'm
item.
not
and-
that concerned.
I can pull up the line item and send it to you. I don't have it in front of me. He's only increasing it by 1,500, but,
Okay, so do we need a motion?
no, there's just a consensus. All this is a notice in the paper
Okay.
that sets up a public hearing for December 16th that starts at 7 PM or later, and then you explain it. What is it?
So year-to-date, in the October financials,
How much was it?
golf course,
Am I wrong?
No.
I mean,
so
I'll
we haven't,
spend any?
it's like the year-to-date total is 2,728.
We mentioned
Plus,
that.
okay, plus the, okay, you have property insurance.
That's what it
So
was.
it's-
That
it's been 4,668 year to
All
date.
right.
That's what it was. The property insurance increased on the golf course, and that's 2 years worth of it. So, I knew I'd remember, so
Yeah, that's a bit,
I just could not remember.
$4,000.
I appreciate that. I could not remember.
Excellent memory.
And we don't anticipate spending any more money up there. I mean, because we don't spend a lot, right? And the mowing is done by the street department, and when they're, occasionally someone else. So, I'll put that in the paper, and we'll have a hearing.
All right. The next item on the agenda, oh boy.
Yeah.
Resolution 0625, thinking Rick meeting. I don't know, this might be a conflict of interest.
Vote into your own resolution, that's fine, they always do.
Table it.
Yeah, we have to do this. And could we do both at the same time?
As you
06,
wish. It's
Resolution
serious business.
0625, thanking Gerard.
Yep.
Any discussion on these?
Those aren't separate resolutions.
There's,
That's true.
You can do them at the same time.
oh wait, are they actually separate resolutions?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Well, it says 06-25.
Make a oh, I have them down as,
There, way to go.
You get your own.
did you see there's a typo,
Yeah, she got it.
I just noticed it, yeah.
but the resolutions aren't wrong.
No, these are
The
right.
agenda's wrong.
You're welcome.
And the budget numbers are fine.
Complain about
Probably.
We're thanking you for your attention to detail. All right, we need a motion for these.
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 0625 and 0725 as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution 0625 and 0725 as presented.
And I'll second that. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
There are none opposed. That's approved. All right, reports?
The easements for the bridge project have been secured. Then when Colson's returns on Monday, we were gonna set up, because Electricom, who's gonna do the substation work, and PAR, who's gonna do the stuff around the bridge, Electricom wants to do it at the same time.
Good.
And so we'll pick a night and we'll let you all know. I don't know exactly when that'll be. It's gonna come down to the schedules, but so it won't be during the day. It will be Saturday at 8 a.m. It'll hopefully be, middle of the week, overnight, and maybe a short outage.
Okay.
And then the only other report I have is that the two commissioners, before you leave, I think you have to sign this plat right here from Sandy Hook, and she has to witness it, Kelsey does. That's all I have.
Just two, or?
Well, so there's only two plus the mayor.
Oh,
So sometimes they put 5, sometimes they put 3. It doesn't matter to me. It's the county who accepts them. So, and you're both here, and you've already signed. So that's all I have unless there's questions.
It's that time of day.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion to adjourn.